So this is what we have from the last video. We've entered our data, we got a regression equation, we're dealing with the logistics, we got a good window on here. And so now we need to answer some further questions. And some of the questions could be, apart from the data that we have already entered, we could predict what's happening in the future, or what happened before that, or what's happening in between those points that could have possibly happened. So if we look at this, this is the data that we have there. And so we're going to look at the table. So we're going to hit escape. You could do it through the menu, but the easiest way is to do Control T for table. Notice how this is highlighted, so that's what's chosen. If I go over here, now this one has switched to be highlighted there. And so what you want to do then is do Control T, and that's going to get rid of the table. So let's bring it back on there. This one's highlighted, so now anything that I hit with the menu is going to be corresponding to the table. So when I hit menu and I hit table, I want to go into the table settings, because this information that's given to me right now, and if I head back to look at the data that's given to me, these are the X values, and the X values are the years since 1989. So in this case, it's 0. If I go up 1 on the table, hold on, hit escape a little bit, and then go back here. If I go up, that's 1989. That's how many bombings were in 1989, 1990, 91, 92, and so on and so forth. But sometimes, let's say that I wanted to know, we have all the information for as many years after 1989. Our data concluded in 1994, but if I wanted to know what happened in 1980, 19, let's say 96, that's 2 years after we finished, so that's like 7. So at 7 years after 1989 or 1996, what happens is we got the 3292 bombings. We don't round up because it's bombings. You can't have part of a bombing. So that's great. But what if we wanted to do something like in the thousands? I didn't want to scroll down to the thousands. Or what if it was like 1.78 of a year that we wanted to know how many bombings were there? Well, I don't want to go ahead and change that. So I'm going to make the table. The table is actually something that we can manipulate and make our life a lot easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to go table settings. And then this is the starting. So the starting, we could start at 0. That was 1989. But then the table step tells you how much you're going up. So for example, if I start at 0, the next one's going to be 1, 2, and 3. If I change the step to 2, so it's going to be 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So the table step is actually tells you how much it's going up each X value. Now, between the independent and the independent is the X values, the dependent is the Y values. One thing that I really like about this is that instead of having auto, I'm going to do the ask. Not for the dependent, because I wanted for it to answer. When we ask what the value is for this X value, I want it to automatically answer what is that Y value. So then we say okay there. And so notice how it cleared out all the columns. Nothing went wrong. That's what it's supposed to be. But let's say that I did want to know what happened 7 years after 1989, how many bombings there were. According to our collected data, it's predicting that in 1996 we had, so I put in 7 there, 3,292 bombings, which is what we had before. Now, what if I wanted 1.7? It also gives me, that's, almost 2 years. This after 1989, it gives me that value. So I could put any value in here, 10, 50, and it's going to be able to give me the values that it's going to happen 1,000 years according to this model. What's going to happen 1,000 years after 1989. And so this is what is really helpful with defining the X values. You get the Y values by this, but it's not the other way around. So when you can enter the Y values and it gives you your X values. They don't do it that way. So what you want to do is you want to close out the table. And so in order to do that, we click on this screen over here so that it's highlighted. And then we do the Control T. And now the table is gone. So now I am looking at this. So if we want to be able to find out, like say for instance 2000, which is a Y value, 2000 bombs, when that happened, we want to know the X value of the year. What we do then is we're going to go here and we're going to hit tab to get the equation, and we're going to put in, this is the same thing as Y equals, we're going to put in Y equals 2000. And so when we hit enter, it's going to give us a horizontal line there. The horizontal line and this one here is when they intersect, it's going to be the point where it's going to give me the X value and the Y value. So we're going to go to menus, analyze the graph, and then intersection. We're going to go to the left and then to the right, so it falls in between the intersection. And so that's telling me that when Y is 2000, it's going to be a little less than a year. So it's going to happen in 1989, but not 1990. So it's almost towards the end. We would have a full 2000 bombings. So, and so that's how you find the Y value. That's how you find the X value giving a Y value. And that's how you use tables and find the information that we want.